This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. The Prime Minister has announced an agreement among Australian premiers on tougher parole and bail laws for those with links to terrorism. National security and a new energy report were major topics discussed at today's COAG meeting as debate again flared over GST shares.
The battle lines were drawn early as the newly elected WA Premier took a swipe at the GST cover-up.
I can now see where all Western Australia's GST is being spent.
A comment not taken lightly as Tasmania's Premier called out irresponsible spending by the WA government.
We've invested about $60 million into the new grandstands here. The stadium that they're building in Western Australia, I think, is $600 million. So that's an example of how much the West Australians like to spend.
National security was the dominating topic for Hobart's COAG. An agreement reached on tougher bail and parole laws for those with links to terrorism. It's despite early fears of a narrow focus.
The several hundred persons of interest in my state, none of them are on parole. That should give us all the evidence we need.
This is not a case of set and forget. You have to keep on the balls of your feet, constantly reviewing and preparing to upgrade, renew, advance, improve our security measures.
A special security COAG meeting to take place soon. Hobart's airport remaining without an Australian Federal Police presence.
We want to improve security. We want to work together. I think that's what Australians want to see us doing.
The highly anticipated Finkel report delivering its blueprint on a national energy policy, a move to reduce greenhouse emissions while keeping household bills down through a clean energy target mechanism.
Incentives for low emissions generation coming in. The lower the emissions relative to a threshold, the bigger the incentive.
So if we're going to move to a scheme that better rewards investment in renewable energy, then Tasmania should receive that reward.
It's amid two new wind farm proposals to come out of Tasmania this week, with a third on its way soon. Another case made for the second Basslink interconnector.
The trend is very much in the direction of having more storage, more pumped hydro storage, and of course that combined with Tasmania's great wind resource.
It was a happy Tasmanian Premier this afternoon with no change to the GST cover-up. However, it didn't stop the West Australian Premier from bargaining for a better deal.
There is talk of a gas pipeline from Western Australia to the eastern states. West Australians would expect there's action on GST before such a pipeline was approved by a West Australian government.
A review into GST shares is due out next year. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
While the Tasmanian unions held their own meeting today on the other side of the River Derwent, protesters staging a People's COAG on Parliament lawns to voice their concerns around income and tax inequality. State and federal Labor MPs were also out to commend the Prime Minister for finding Tasmania amid its claims state infrastructure has been forgotten.
The fact is that every single road or rail project underway in Tasmania right now was funded by the former federal Labor government. There simply has been 4 years of neglect.
You can't build Tasmania's future if you're not building anything, and that's been highlighted through the lack of investment in infrastructure, both by the state government and unfortunately by the federal government as well.
The latest state budget has allocated more than $300 million for infrastructure over the next 2 years. A stolen rifle, quantities of the drug ice, cannabis, methamphetamine, along with a stash of stolen car parts and power tools have all been seized by police in raids at Cooey and Camdale. A 39-year-old man has been charged with 17 offences following the searches and appeared in the Devonport Magistrates Court today. 4 other people have also been charged with drug possession and stealing-related charges. A North West Coast man has fronted court charged with manslaughter following a fatal crash on the Midland Highway near Perth in December. Dwayne Albert Cashman has also been charged with 2 counts of causing grievous bodily harm by dangerous driving and exceeding the speed and alcohol limit. A 53-year-old man died in the collision. His family members were also injured. Mr Cashman is yet to enter pleas and will next appear in court on July 7. Meanwhile, a West Launceston teenager accused of indecently assaulting a woman in the mosh pit at Marion Bay Falls Festival over New Year's has had the charge against him dropped. Prosecutors today told the Launceston Magistrates Court the state is not proceeding with the charge and asked for the case to be dismissed. A Longford grandfather has been left devastated after his storage shed was allegedly burnt down overnight. The fire on Cressy Road has been deemed deliberately lit, the homeowner losing everything inside.
For decades, this small cottage has belonged to Longford's Connell family. It used to be a home, but in recent years has been used for storage.
Well, there was the furniture, golf clubs. One of my granddaughters went over to Queensland and they put a lot of their stuff in there, and that's all gone.
Miniature car box sets also turned to rubble when the blaze took off around 11 o'clock last night.
When we arrived, the structure was more than half fully engulfed.
Mr Connell grabbed his garden hose to protect his house, but luckily the fire didn't come near it.
I only hope nobody lit it. I'd hate to think somebody lit it. I'd rather think that it's been, by a faulty power or something.
The fire service this afternoon declaring the shed deliberately lit.
Estimated damage cost is around about $100,000.
The homeowner says he now has no option but to pull it down.
I'll miss it, won't be the same. I often think, well, why don't I rent that out and move in there? There's a wood fire in it, like a wood oven thing in it. There you are, it's gone now, so.
Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. Monica Dadson, Southern Cross News.
Dark Mofo fever has officially swept over Hobart, with the main draw cards Winter Feast and Dark Park opening this evening. Thousands are in the state for the festival, which brings international curators, produce connoisseurs and musicians together for the two-week party.
Hobart is abuzz with the start of the highly anticipated winter festival Dark Mofo. Thousands of visitors have flown into Hobart to experience what the city has to offer over the next 2 weeks.
It's cutting-edge art, it's really well curated, and I can see people wanting to come here from all over the world because it's that great quality.
Positive and not many grumpy people around, so that's always a bonus.
This VIP event held late this afternoon at Dark Park saw the who's who of Tasmania taking in the festivities and enjoying some mulled wine before the other punters come to enjoy themselves.
We're very excited. It's always an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be in Hobart, whether you're here at the festival or you're off-site experiencing some of the fringe events.
Crowd favourite Winter Feast also opening its gates tonight. Tens of thousands expected to enjoy the best Tassie produce over the coming days. During the day, events held around the city are designed to spark conversation of some important issues.
A lot of our concepts might seem quite broad and abstract, but they're actually very, very lived experiences for everybody.
Dark Mofo has captured Australia's imagination, particularly for artists. I think artists are travelling from all over the country. We've got curators, we've got international artists also who are attending the event, who are feeding back to the world something special is happening in Tasmania.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
And Louise is at Dark Park and joins us now. Hi there, Louise. The festivities are well and truly underway.
They are, Joe. It's an electric atmosphere down here. There's people everywhere taking in the sights, the sounds and the smells that Dark Mofo has to offer our city. Organisers have just told me that thousands of people have already flooded through the gates at the free and the ticketed events. The fire pits are here to keep us warm, but it's still pretty chilly. So if you're heading down, I'd recommend to bring a jacket. Joe.
All right, good advice. Thank you very much for that, Louise. Have a lovely evening. Heated debate has sparked over the future use of the Meander Primary School. A planning appeal lodged to stop the site being turned into a rehabilitation centre has been upheld, providing a ray of hope for the community group trying to oppose the plans.
The news today that the appeal had been successful was music to Bodhi's ears. She says when initial expressions of interest for the site went out, not enough communication was provided from the council.
So we were blindsided.
and we've been reeling ever since.
The Meander Valley Council approved the school being transformed into a drug and rehabilitation centre in March this year. Not soon after, the Meander Area and Ratepayers Association lodged its opposition to the Resource Management and Planning Appeal Tribunal.
It's a public asset and it should remain in public hands to benefit the whole of the Meander community.
The group would like to see the school be used for public use, such as childcare and community events. But Christian group Teen Challenge is standing by its plans to turn the site into a rehabilitation centre for women with children, saying it's one of the only centres in Tasmania.
There's so much need in Tasmania. There's no facilities at all for women with children. There's nothing else out there, so we just need it.
The appeal was upheld due to the application being incorrectly categorised as for hospital services, and the notice given by the council advertising the development application did not adequately specify the content of it.
Basically a technical issue that has held it up and delayed the process, which will obviously now need to be restarted.
The future use of this school has been a contentious debate for several years. Teen Challenge says despite today's setback, the group will be reapplying for the proposal.
It's not a point of celebration. I think that we need to look past this and as a community say, well, what can we do and get on board with this and really help turn lives around because it's such a desperate need.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
4 Tasmanian teenagers have teamed up with 3 New South Wales lads to try and create the world's fastest miniature Formula One car. The teens gearing up to tackle the World F1 Schools Challenge in Malaysia later this year.
Former rivals, now teammates. These boys came 3rd and 4th in their own state teams at the National F1 in Schools Challenge earlier this year. Now they've joined forces, determined the collaboration will give them an advantage going into the World Final.
So we'll be developing on our older cars and taking what's beneficial from both and hopefully presenting a lot faster car.
Until today, the young engineers have used social media to communicate across Bass Strait. But this weekend, Team Invisity will be working face-to-face in Launceston College's steam engine room.
This is really important because working in 2 different parts of the country is a real challenge. To be together, I think, is going to give them a lot of momentum for moving forward over the next few months.
Speed is a major factor for judging in the challenge, with some cars reaching speeds of up to 80 kilometres per hour. The boys will also be judged on overall design.
They've got a really broad skill set. Their engineering and their design skills really are exceptional, so we think that they're going to do quite well at the World Final.
We're hopeful, and I guess if we all put in that dedication and the work, and I guess anything's possible.
Queechee High School's Golden Diversity team will also compete in the World Final. They automatically qualified after winning the Nationals. But all teams still have a long road ahead. The World Challenge to be held in Malaysia in September. Monika Dadson at Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has ended slightly higher, buoyed by mining stocks, while the poor showing for the ruling Conservative Party in the UK election has given the Aussie dollar a boost against the pound. The ASX 200 index has risen by 5.4 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 75.34 US cents and 59 British pence. Tasmania is tonight putting the finishing touches on its month-long preparation ahead of tomorrow's representative game at Blunston Arena. It's a different story for the NEFL, the squad arriving in Hobart today for just its 2nd training run together ahead of the big match.
The NEFL has a big chunk of the AFL's money, but Tasmania has the tradition and the passion. And the pride in wearing the map isn't lost on coach Anthony Taylor.
It's a proud jumper, the Tassie jumper, and we're representing our state, and the boys have got an obligation to put their best foot forward to play to the passion and culture that's needed tomorrow.
Vice-Captain Jackson O'Brien says the squad has had the best possible preparation compared to its rivals.
We play against each other and we sort of know our strengths, so that's going to help us, I think, and having the train for the month has definitely helped as well.
With players spread across Canberra, Sydney, Queensland and even the NT, the NEFL's preparation has been limited at best. Tonight's training session just their second hit out before the first bounce. But coach John Blair says he has a plan to stop the state's best.
Joe Bowden obviously is your marquee player, as with what he's been able to do and achieve and that over the years.
Blair more cautious than his own midfielder Jordan Harper, who was quoted in Canberra newspapers saying the NEFL is the best competition in the country behind the AFL.
Where do we rate the TSFL? Well, we're not coming down here saying that we're better than them. What we're coming down here to say is that we'll be giving our best shot to play well tomorrow to put one hell of a game on.
Play gets underway from 2 p.m. tomorrow. Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
Dumped NPL club, the Glenorchy Knights, are hoping to pull off an upset against top-flight powerhouse Olympia when the Lacaselle Cup final kicks off on Monday. But Warriors coach Kenny Weston is confident his side's run of patchy form will end, despite 3 top players struggling for fitness.
Glenorchy has worked hard to turn its fortunes around, both on and off the pitch, since losing its spot in the top tier at the end of 2015. And the hard work is paying off, with a chance to play in the FFA Cup round of 32, just one more win away. Coach Franco Previdi says regardless of the outcome on Monday, it's time for the Knights to return to the top.
I mean, it's no secret. I always say that Glenorchy Knights should be playing in NPL.
Olympia coach Kenny Weston agrees. He says his players will need to bring their best form if they're to lift the coveted cup.
I can only impact from a small degree. You know, it's the players' responsibility to make that ultimate sort of impact on the pitch.
The national exposure of the FFA Cup, an added incentive.
A cup final, you know, it means everything to the coach, it means everything to the club, it means everything to the players. You know, and that's what you strive for, is to have these occasions.
For Previdi, he's aware of the tough task ahead, but the possible absence of Warriors stars Warren Wadawu and Jacob Sklenner make an upset possible.
It's win or lose or draw, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you go in there and give your best shot. Because by the time if you don't do that, when you come out of the field, you'll regret it.
Kick-off is at 4:30 p.m. at KG5. Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Hobart and Launceston 16 today. Burnie and Devonport recorded 15 degrees. 16 was the high. That was also recorded by St Helens, Friendly Beaches, Bushy Park, Campania and Flinders Island. Wynyard Grove and King Island 15 today. Low Head and Strawn 14. Lyawini the low with -2. There is low cloud that's surrounded Tasmania and sat over the Bight. An area of mid-level cloud is also evident off the New South Wales coast. Mostly cloud-free elsewhere apart from the next front moving towards Western Australia. And there's our situation. The west and far south had most of the cover today. Tomorrow, a large and strong high near Adelaide extends ridges over a vast area. The next cold front and low well to the west, as we mentioned earlier, with that cloud off WA. West and northwesterly winds at 20 to 30 knots over southern waters, lighter winds elsewhere, tending more variable later, swells at 3 metres in western and southern waters. Strong wind warnings on for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. Long weekend, here we go. Mostly sunny for Hobart, 15 tomorrow, 13 with a shower developing for Maydena. Oatlands mostly sunny and 12 degrees. Launceston, morning fog and frost, 15 the top later, 15 for Devonport, partly cloudy, -2 again for Lyawini, a 9-degree top. For Burnie, partly cloudy, 15 the top. Strawn, a shower or two developing, 14 degrees, 14 also for Marrawar. And for St Helens, sunny and 16. Beautiful for Swansea. You've got to head here for the long weekend, 16 the top and 15 for Orford. On Sunday, showers over the west and maybe later over other regions apart from the east coast. A shower for western parts on Monday. Fine on Tuesday with a chance of a shower over the west and far south. Sunny in Perth, Darwin and Alice Springs tomorrow. A little cloud over Adelaide and Canberra. Showers forecast for Sydney and Brisbane. Partly cloudy over Hobart, it's currently 9 degrees, 6 and clear in Launceston, fine 2 in Devonport and currently 7 degrees. Joe, I found this old red and white tie in the back of the cupboard today. Thought I'd wear it tonight for no particular reason.
No particular reason at all. Just one of those old Swans ties. Thank you very much, Murph. That's all from us for now. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.